Hello. Thank you for coming. We're doing this like guided tour, but I think it would be nice to be a little bit more like a conversation around like the works, the paintings, the images that we're seeing here. Obviously, I'm going to guide you a bit through like some core ideas of the process and the works, but I also really want to hear from you like what you feel and what you understand of it. So, but to begin with, I would like maybe us to think a bit about like who we are and how we are when we are dreaming or when we are in a state of daydreaming or projecting like realities in our mind. Real when you were dreaming, but now it's sort of gone, but you still have the feeling. And how do you transform that into an image? So this room and these paintings are a bit about that. So I think maybe you can like say something about it if you want, rather than having questions at the end. I don't know how you feel
Does
about it.
that mean that the picture is gone, but the feeling is still there, and you try to translate the feeling back into a picture?
Yeah,
So from the first, okay.
I try to translate the feeling back into a picture, and it's important that even the picture is not like quite obvious. You know, you can try to finish it with your eyes upon it, with your understanding, because it's meant to be in that limbo, you know, like in a practical way, like in terms of process. Like I was doing a lot of like small drawings, just lines of those ideas, and then I chose the ones that I connected the most about that. And then, I mean, the pictorial process is something that's very intense. It's very, you know, you have to make a lot of decisions, and those decisions are like fixed, they're real, they're part of, you cannot go back on those decisions. So once the decision is made, you just have to go through it. And that's, you know, the daydreaming and the dreaming, it's part of the process for me, but then the pictorial process is more like concrete, and I need to understand also what's the message that it can convey and what is happening in the image, what I'm doing to the image and what the image is doing to me. You know, so like this one, for instance, like I really wanted to convey a mystery in it, and I wasn't quite sure what kind of mystery it was, and I was reading a lot these like short stories of Clarice Lispector, and she's very good with like words and making it like creating words with images, and I was understanding that I was creating words with creating images through paint and through composition. And I started to understand this picture as like a policial, how do you say that? história policial. Policial mystery somehow. And I was starting to use that narrative to understand the image, but it's not a narrative with an end. I mean, it's the mystery of vision, it's the mystery of perception and of understanding. But I think that you as a viewer can like feel it yourself. I mean, I don't want to give an answer to what the mystery is.
It's different for everyone.
What?
I guess the mystery is different for everyone.
Exactly. That's great.
I like very much the dialogue between these two paintings, where we have always in two of them lines. So the structure is line is little parts. In this case, is transparent.
Yeah.
So we can see what's further, but we have transparent. It's very well done. This image of the movement of the
Yeah.
and it's interesting. There we have not in vertical, horizontal, and we can also, you are trying to see also further than the elements.
Yeah, seeing beyond, and there's this like narrative difference, because here you have like someone that's actively looking for something, and here it's you. So here in this picture it's like you have a mediator between you and the vision that she's possibly seeing, and here is just like a vision that might not even be real, but I mean it's real because it's an image, it's made, but like image wise it's something that it's only, I mean, you take it as reality as you take dreams as reality when you are dreaming. Yeah.
I think that one does do a really good job for me in conveying like the way I feel when I'm in dreams. Like it's like the hand kind of looks like it's in motion, and it's not, it's kind of abstract, you know, it's not very literal. Like it's like a many joints in a hand. It's not
yeah.
But it conveys like a feeling of movement, and I feel like my dreams are often like very blurry, and yeah, like you were saying, you get the feeling that there is movement or there is a hand, but you don't really see a hand. Like I definitely feel like there's always a veil between me and what I'm seeing, and it's like sometimes the veil is keeping me from movement, like it's keeping me, my body from like being able to walk, and sometimes it's visually a veil too. So this gives me a very visceral feeling of the dreams that I have, which I guess it's
great.
There are similarities, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because I like that thing that some images that you keep in your mind and in your memory aren't like really images. It's like feelings, sensations, I don't know. And every time you try to recall like dream or even a memory, you're changing it. You know, you're like doing like a creative movement with it, and it's not fixed. It cannot be fixed. And I like that thing like in between reality and fiction, because you're like self-fictioning there. You know, even in memories.
I have heard that like every memory changes every time you like revisit it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we can move to the next one. Pois, acho que vamos para aqui, depois podemos falar disso. I don't know. Que é mais fácil. Okay. And as for the first room, it's what I was telling you about it, that I wanted it to be more, not abstract, but between reality and fiction. And here, okay, you have that, but it's like an image that's way more concrete. It's like bluntly in front of you. And this one has like a more personal story to me, but it's a mix of a lot of things that I like and also a lot of things that I needed to put on the canvas and transform like into an image, into a painting. Like this is a mix between a painting from Tiziano that's called Bacchus and Ariadne, and my view and my feeling upon it. So I was using in some other works that aren't shown here. I was using pictures from the Western like pictorial tradition, because I mean it's something that you can use if you want, you know. And this painting in particular, you can look it up. It's very like festivo. How do you say? Festive? Yeah, it's very festive. It's very leading up, I guess. And you have a lot of characters. You have a lot of things happening, and I really felt connected with that picture, and I saw the original painting, and that confirmed my interest in it. And then I usually go to this summer festival that's Festival de Músicas do Mundo. It's a very, like, it's an important time of the year for me to go there. And there I felt the vibe of the painting, like in real life. And I was mid-process of working for the exhibition, and I really felt like I really need to transform this into a picture. So I did that. And I started to understand like what the characters from Tiziano would be doing in my world. That would be a review and a transformation from my stay at the festival, and what was important for me to explore that. So you have like some how do you say this? It's not connections, like the relations between the characters. It's like, for me, this is like it's 7 a.m. Like you're going back to the tent after like a full night. And then maybe she's going back to the tent and he comes and he's being like a bit of an asshole, and she's like, I'm not sure if I want to like talk to you. And he comes like in this huge garbage bin with some fauno and like some cheetahs. It's like some random elements from a festival that can also happen in a painting. And then I needed to sort of create this alter ego, because the painting is about my feeling. So it's like sort of about me, I guess. But there's always a transformation, and I needed to understand like what she/I was doing in this picture, like what was important, which like visual elements were the were the attributes to the figure, and how it could work with the rest of the picture, also while creating this double narrative, this double reality inside the painting. And this whole process, this whole thing led me to understand like the whole exhibition as a, how do I say, like to understand the mood of the exhibition. It was like understanding that there were like several levels of perception and reality, and dealing with that perception and that reality and that daydreaming and take it as reality, etc. So I remember this book that I love that's called, in Portuguese, A Invenção de Morel, from this a writer from Argentina, that's Adolfo Bioy Casares, and it's inside the like realism magic. I don't know. Magical realism, like in literature, yeah, exactly. And it was perfect because that's what this is all about. I mean, it's reality, but it's also some kind of magic about like what you can project inside your mind from that reality and take it as reality as well. And then that book in particular, I'm not going to fully tell the story of the book, but it's about reality perception and images, and exactly what I was trying to convey in the pictures for the exhibition. And one of the main characters, it's called Faustine. You are not really sure if she's real or not. And Faustine, that's the title of the exhibition, like became this sort of entity for me that translates, like as a noun, as a character, like translates the feeling and the search that I was looking for through this whole process. And also, like, Faustine became this character. So I think she is still in transformation. Actually, I was telling Jamie earlier that I'm still working on this character. It comes from a self-portrait or a self-projection, but when you make it real in paint, it's like sort of this entity that comes out of you, and you have to like treat it differently than you treat yourself, because it becomes sort of independent, although you make it, you change it, but she gains like a life of its own, I guess. Yeah. And I needed it to be in some kind of a frontier. I needed to be sort of dangerous somehow, but also maybe vulnerable. I needed to be a little bit prehistorical, like roots, origins.
Like primal.
Yeah. Like maybe to think about something that comes before, like language and the culture we are accustomed to deal in our everyday lives, I guess.
I think I have a question about like the painting pretty much start from this classic reference of Policial. There is dealing with Greek mythology.
Yeah.
And suddenly in my mind I'm thinking about all these female characters in the Greek mythology which are super bad treated.
Yeah.
As long as Daphne, that she became a star Greek or a constellation.
Yeah.
Basically, Bacchus fell in love with somebody else, and there's always this story of badly treating women.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly there is this very bold character in the painting that is smoking a cigarette, is drinking, and in my mind there is a kind of a feminist message.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it could be just an interpretation of a satyr. I don't know if in your, maybe the question is, was it intentional to have this bold female character in a feminist way, contrasting with all this weight of the Western bad treating women kind of philosophy, or is it by chance and it's so?
Yeah, I think the answer, it's like, well, it's not this, but it's sort of yes and no, in a way that like feminism is important to me. And to like not exactly rewrite but re-understand those images. Okay, like you have those images from Western tradition that are not just images but also stories and etc. And I think that you as a woman and a woman artist, well, for me, maybe you learn them as something that's sort of taken from granted, and then you have to like step back and understand like what that does to you and what are like what can be your real connection and interpretation of those images. So for instance, the thing of making her uncomfortable about his arrival, like it's very important, because also like in the original painting, like what I understand from it is that she's not comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But for me it was important to enhance that, because I mean what the fuck is happening, and like the original story, because she was already left alone on the island by this other guy that supposedly saved her from the Minotaur and all that, and then she's there alone and it's supposed to take Bacchus as her next lover just because he fell in love with her Atenist. And I think that's not that far from what you find in some like in a festival or going out by night, like this guy suddenly, oh, you're so cute, and you're like, oh, yeah. Yeah, what are you doing? I'm not here for your entertainment. But that's real, and I wanted to like transform that and to understand that through the image. And I think that also like that, how did I say it? How did I say it? Primitivo?
Primal.
Like that primal thing, it's also a bit about that, because like you are, I mean, how I feel these figures, like obviously she's independent and obviously she's like almost naked there because she wants to. It's not like an object of desire. It's like because that's the way she can be, she can work, she can do whatever she wants, basically. And it was important to have these elements of subversion, how do you say that? Subversion. Like the the leg hair, and also like smoking and drinking, that I mean everybody does that, but you don't have that much like as an icon. And I think all of these images were worked a lot like in an iconic manner. We can look at I did a lot of studies to these paintings, and they're like each one of them isolated with like sort of a clean background. So there is this apuramento,
Clean and refinement.
Refinement, yeah, of the figure, how it works, how it can work like as a clean and independent image picture, like in a sort of iconographic way, like reinvent the iconography of the original painting, even though it's sort of similar, but if you do it with a different feeling, the feeling is conveyed by the picture, I think. And also for me to understand what they were doing, and that's why, like, he's an asshole, you know. I know that because I was like working with him for some time. I understood that, like, I understand that the cheetahs are like sort of talking about what's happening, like between these two figures, and maybe they are not coming up to a conclusion. Maybe when it's like, oh, I think it's okay. Are you sure? I mean, she just wants to go somewhere.
It's a very interesting, like you were saying that it references like this like classical painting, but it also like looks so dreamlike in the way that there's like one wheel.
Yeah.
Like it's like a different dream gravity.
Yeah.
And in some ways I think like that Faustine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in our reality, that might be kind of a bold move. But the funny thing is, when you're in a dream, you don't think about how bold you are or how you're just like, dude, you're just like alive. You know, as a human monkey, like you're just like
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
But like in the context of like reality outside of your dreaming, that is kind of a bold move. But she's just in a comfortable position, right? She's just in a comfortable enjoyment position.
Yeah, she's just like doing her thing, maybe. So, I mean, because maybe the rest of the painting is just something that she's dreaming about, you know. I'm not sure. And that's important.
Carlota, why your option to paint and not to draw?
What do you mean?
Probably we will find in the other room all the details you studied about these characters, and probably you did it with drawing, and you know, and maybe, if the draw is more direct for your feeling, your.
No, I think well, maybe I call it drawings, but 90% of the studies are made with paint. So
Also?
yeah. They're really like studies for the painting. Sorry. And I don't know, like drawing and painting are quite close together, but I think there's this difference in fluidity and like matter that was really important for this, because it's like a corporeal. It's like it has to do with the body, like the body of paint, the body of the characters. You construct it in a. I'm sorry. So the material also makes the project. I mean, it would be different if it was drawing. You can say that it has drawing. I mean, you can argue what's the frontier between one thing and the other, but this is made with paint.
I think I guess like the looseness of the medium of paint lends itself for painting kind of like a dreamlike feeling. Because, like, say if you were drawing with pencil, it's you have more control over it in a way. Like, with paint, there's this like looseness that you have to work with.
Yeah.
I think, and it's very dreamy. It reminds me of dreams.
Yeah. Because also the limits are blurry. Or you can work with that, right? Like drawing is a bit about limits. Because when you're working with a pencil, like, or for me, the important thing is to, like, make the outline. And with paint, you work more with the inside.
You can sculpt.
Yeah.
And like work with shape and form before like draw. I feel like drawing's more linear.
Yeah,
almost,
yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
painting is more like you can throw some color on there and you work with it.
Yeah, and you like find out while you're doing it.
You find it. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
Acho que preciso beber água. Tens?
Não importas beber da minha?
Não. Até estou a chorar. Obrigada.
And what's under the cover?
Under the?
So there's something, seems to me, on a wheeled platform with some kind of cover over it, like a piano with a cover.
Okay. Okay, for me, it's like this big garbage bin.
This big what?
Garbage bin.
Okay. Oh, the lid is open.
Yeah. But it's open for interpretation.
Okay.
The garbage bin is open for interpretation.
I don't like interpreting, so I asked directly to the author.
Yeah. And he's coming out of a garbage bin, you know.
And also that detail, is that reference from the picture, the original painting, or did you include it?
No, I included it. When I was working on the studies for that fiction of that character, I understood that those two elements, like the stone and the snail, were somehow two important attributes of her, like as the light and cigarette and the bottle of beer. So they don't come from TCN. Like this figure, this one, the cheetahs, the fauno, and this bit, they come from TCN.
But it's what you're saying, like it's a prehistoric or primal or something.
Yeah.
There are two elements that are related to that idea.
Yes.
I imagine.
Yeah, and also maybe with things that she can use,
Okay.
you know, like.
Memories from the Sudoeste? It's from the festival? From the beach?
Might be, I mean, but well, she can use them or they're just there, but they're part of her, you know. Well, she can throw you a stone if she needs to.
I'm worried about that guy.
This one?
A little suspicious.
Yeah, he's not innocent. Like this baby-like feeling, it's not entirely working, you can see through it. Yeah, but I'm happy that it can be dubious, you know.
It can be
Dubious? No?
dubious.
Yeah. Because that's the dreamlike quality. Do you have more questions? No? So I guess that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Would like to visit
Obrigada. Yeah, sure. We have to see the studies.
Yeah. Queres acabar, Carol?
Se calhar. Fiquei toda.
Bye.